when it comes to the perfect weapon. The old ways are sometimes best. And they should be honored forevermore. The power of Crit Draw! Hello, my fellow hunters! How are you enjoying not having anything new to do in Monster Hunter for a long while? Because I'm having a great time. I don't do anything else with my life. But what I have been doing is coming up with a brand new and best Crit Draw Greatsword build, because there is something deeply satisfying in hitting 850 off just your opening draw attack. It scratches an itch deep. What the fuck? I should script this. It scratches an itch deep in every Greatsword user, and that itch is, I want to press one button and hit high number. Haha, I am powerful. And that is noble in of itself. And this build is there hitting Nergigante for over 900 damage with a draw attack, letting you play from a point of complete safety because you're just running around and pressing triangle after he's committed to a move, and then you're sheathing and running away. And it comes built in with huge health regen, thanks to those huge numbers being translated into it, and Divine Blessing as a bonus, so if you do get clipped, it's probably gonna be fine. It's kind of silly how effective and streamlined this whole experience is, thanks to just how much power creep has happened in Iceborne, to the point we can cram this goodness while still getting that sweet, sweet Frostcraft bonus. But before we actually, dive into this build, we need to talk Crit Draw itself, because for as good as this is, and I genuinely believe that this build matches your normal 3 Teo 2 Brachy True Charge Greatsword comfortably, in speed of the kill, in how easy it is to do, in the safety of the setup. In fact, it's largely greater in that final category by a long shot. But before we get into, well, the details, let's talk Crit Draw itself, because of as good as this is, it's also kind of a defunct playstyle when it comes to Iceborne. See, back in the day, Crit Draw Greatsword was just the way to play Greatsword, and the chief reason for that is threefold. One, it allowed you to hit 100% affinity, which was nigh undoable without using a skill like Crit Draw, which gave you the full 100%. It was the safest way to play because you're not stood still rooted doing the rest of your attacks in a game where the movement was already clunky at best, and hitboxes were and monsters were very good at hitting you with everything constantly all the time, and essentially it let Greatsword feel like an actual fun weapon to play and give you some actual mobility in a weapon that is really not designed for it, because you spend most of your time sheathed, running around and comfortably dodging the monster. And then of course it was just the most effective way, it did the most damage, it was potent. But in World in Iceborne, and a little bit in Genalt with the Valor style, it really did give Greatsword a much different avenue to go down, which was fantastic fun. But chiefly in World in Iceborne, with the advent of True Charge, it's just too colossally more powerful than your normal draw attack to be worth using just draw attack, even if you build for it. And that's because 100% affinity is just a baseline of most builds these days. It's not more effective because True Charge will just kill something faster if you are playing properly, and it's not exactly hard to land the full combo against most monsters, and admittedly Crit Draw will always be the safest way to play. And in some cases, yes, against like a Rajang who is too mobile to sit there going through the full combo to True Charge, or sniping Kirin heads, Crit Draw has its place and is the superior way to kill those monsters faster Master too. But for crit draw to overtake as just the best way to generally play Greatsword, something would have to really shift. And I believe that that shift might well come in the form of Frostcraft. Now don't get me wrong, Frostcraft is fantastic. A 30% damage multiplier is ridiculous and is something that is absolutely not to be overlooked. However, Velkhana armor just is plain garbage, which means it's very much limiting in the rest of the skills that you can pile onto it. Not to mention you do then lose Master's Touch, which is very useful so you're not spending all your time sharpening and not killing. Now you can play True Charge with Frostcraft, you end up using Slinger Burst to skip to True Charge, which lets the Frostcraft give it 20% of its maximum 30% boost, which is a lot of fun, but it is definitely niche, because again, not having Master's Touch really sucks. But if we get to a world where, for example, Arch-Tempered Velkhana comes out and we get even better Frostcraft armor, a world where we have Safi that lets us put one of the set bonuses on the weapon, a world in which we keep getting better and better armor with better and better slots, like Kulv Turov's Master Rank gloves with 2 juicy 4 slots and a crit boost, will we start to fall more and more and more towards, fuck it, let's just crit draw. And today then, ladies and gentlemen, fuck it, let's just crit draw. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk on Crit Draw Greatsword. So, all this is to say that currently we are at the tipping point where crit draw is as good as True Charge on balance if you allow for relative comfortableness and survivability, if not just raw output. So in the future, I think there is a very good chance that Arch-Tempered Velkhana tips the balance. But until then, let's talk this, because this is just fantastic. So, weapon is the place to start. We have to use Safi. The reason we have to use Safi is twofold. It reaches the highest pure raw out of all of the greatswords, the second being base Rajang, and it allows us to put one of the Velkhana set essences on it, meaning we only have to use 3 pieces of Velkhana armor. The rest is up to you. You can go full attack, or you can swap 2 of the attack 5s for sharpness 5s, as I have done, as with the purple sharpness, you have 3 or so more true raw once all your skills are firing, and it's just that little bit more potent, and you don't really have to sharpen that often because you crit draw greatswording, which means you're not really hitting that often. But it's largely just a choice whichever you're more comfortable with. Attack and health augment, as you might expect, and the element of your choice is the one that is going to be most effective against the monster you're targeting. That is the technical highest output here, though it is such a minor bump that you can just use blast and be fine against everything. Here I've got dragon, because Ruiner isn't a fan of the dragons. So what actual armor are we using then? Well, of course, 3 pieces of Velkhana. We're using the Alpha Waist notably because we just don't need that 4 slot, and this is where we get that 1 cheeky rank of Coalescence, which is another 12 raw when it activates, which is kind of nice. It's a little bit extra that we might as well get. And then, of course, Damascus Chest, we want that focus, and its slottage is ridiculous, and Kulftarov's gloves are absolutely crazy, and this is the slot that we have gained from dropping a Velkhana essence onto the weapon, because the Velkhana gloves are just, they're so bad. They're so bad, Velkhana!
Stop wearing my skin!
No, I don't want to. I like it, okay? Alright, shut up. So how does this all decorate up? Well, there are a few, admittedly, hefty decorations in here. The double attack is the chief culprit, but this is what I mean, because you don't need to put affinity on this outside of finishing critical draw from the boots. You have so much more space to just pour attack skills onto it, so you start to get to the tipping point that this does such colossal damage regularly enough to compete with True Charge. We even cram in peak performance here, because as I said, this build is so safe. You're just dodging the monster, running around sheathed, and then draw attacking when the opportunity is there. Coupled with how much damage it does and the health augment, you're going to be keeping peak up a lot of the time, and that's a sweet plus 20 raw. There's not really much more to put. And that might actually be the key there. Even if we had more decoration slots, I'd finish Coalescence, and then really we're kind of running out of skills that can make this better. So maybe Arch-Tempered Volcano with more slots won't actually do much more. Maybe this is as far as it goes, and if that's true, this will always remain as just an almost as good but very alternate, niche yet still fun playstyle. We'll have to see what happens, but at the very least, this is peak crit draw. It is powerful, it is safe, it is fun, and it just makes you feel like a classic Greatsword badass, and I highly, highly recommend you guys give it a go. Until then, like if you've enjoyed this, subscribe for more, and I will see you soon. Goodbye.
Rage Gaming with the video flow.
But that's all that's really relevant at the mo, but I'm still gonna leave this up so you patrons know that I love you even though the outro's no longer that kind of relevant. But the new one's being worked on and it's gonna be a truly badass song, and don't worry, I won't be doing any rapping on it. I'm gonna go now. This was shit.